Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joy. I go by they, them pronouns, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about whatever I want to talk about and share my life with you guys. And today we are covering the topic of how to be your own bestie, aka how to learn to be alone. I talked about this a little bit in my 2021 year review about how I am just at a place right now where I was like forcibly taught to be alone. Not forcibly taught, but like put in a situation where I had to be alone. And so I thought I would share some things with you guys that maybe if you're on a journey where you don't really know how to navigate, then maybe some of these things will help you. I do want to preface this by saying that, like, one, everyone's journey to learning how to be alone is different. It's gonna look different for everyone. And two, I also want to say that being alone is not the end goal. Okay, so do not get into a space where just because you can be alone, don't suppress all of the feelings of wanting a community, of wanting friends, of wanting a partner. Like, those are all very valid and healthy things that I have to remind myself of as well, because otherwise you just get into this like rut of, well, I can do it by myself and I can do it by myself, and it'll be like forever like that. You don't want being alone to be your end goal. Okay, but let's get into it. The number one thing that I would suggest when starting out, if you're one, in a situation where you're forced to be alone, or two, you've just kind of done some self-reflection of your family, your friends, the people you spend time with, and you're realizing that there's something off, is to do the things that you would want to do with someone alone. It's really simple. In theory, in execution, it can be a little bit harder. So one of the things that I started doing was going to do like basic things that I had to do anyway by myself and like make it fun. So when I go to the grocery store, or I had to pick something up from the pharmacy or anything like that, make it fun for yourself. Okay, put your headphones in, listen to some good music, forget about everyone else, and like if you just need to like sway with the music, sway with the music. Get yourself something fun at the end. I always like treat myself to a little something at the cash register, you know, like when they have all that like chocolate, and or like if I'm at like Sephora, or Ulta, like the little samples. Get yourself something fun at the end. You deserve it. Once I felt like I was comfortable with doing those kind of things, then I started doing things that I would always think that was like a partner thing to do, and just do it yourself. Okay, do I go see movies by myself all the time now? Yes, I go see movies by myself all the time, because one thing I know about me is that I like to talk in a movie. I like to sit comfortably. I like to just kind of like chit chat with myself and the on-screen characters. So now what I do is pick a weekday where I don't have anything going on, and I go to the movies by myself. So it'll be like Tuesday night, and I'll be all the way in the back, like, you know, those seats all the way up there, and I will sit up there and I will watch a movie that I want to see, and it will be the best time. Okay, just because you're out by yourself does not mean that you don't have to have fun. I've taken myself out to eat. Okay, that's always a great time. You can order what you want. If you want to order as soon as the waiter gets there, you don't have to wait for somebody else to be like, oh, I don't really know what I want. If you need 25 minutes to figure out your order, you're the only one at the table. Who cares? You don't have to worry about splitting checks. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can actually enjoy your meal because you're too busy talking. None of that. So I've taken that opportunity to go see restaurants that I've wanted to go to, try different types of meals, and it's always just such a good time. And I feel like it's just liberating. That's the best word to use. It's liberating. And then just take that sort of idea and put it onto whatever you want to put it onto. I go to museums by myself, bookstores by myself. Just get comfortable with doing things by yourself. Do not stop your life just because you don't have people to go with. I think one of the biggest things that I've taught myself in like the past year or so is, and I always think about this, is I'm going for the experience. You know, like if I'm going to a concert, I'm going for the concert, okay? So just remind yourself that the beauty and the fun and the good things about that experience don't change just because you're alone. You know what I mean? Like the colors of a sunset are not gonna get less vibrant because you're alone. The sun is not gonna be like, well, this bitch is by herself, this bitch by himself, like, so I'm just turn the lights down. No, the sun is gonna be just as sunny, the books are gonna be just as juicy, the coffee is gonna be just as delicious, the movie is gonna have just as many action scenes. Like all this stuff is going to be good. So don't deny yourself the pleasure of going to go see, do, hear, experience, okay? You're just by yourself. You're not losing out. Okay, the next thing that I would advise for someone who is trying to learn how to be better alone is to get comfortable talking to yourself, okay? For the longest time, you know, I mentioned this before, but for the longest time I just had such a negative self-view of myself, and it was really, really hard to like myself, okay? Like me were not on the same page. We were like this. Now we're like this, but like, you know, before there was no connection. There was none of that. So I had to take real steps, like real effort to learn how to talk to myself. One of the biggest ways that is visible to me, anyway, to me now, is the fact that when I am in the middle of something that is not so fun, you know, I will say, like, just this past weekend has been super rough for me because I had one of those, like, you know, you have no one in your life and everything's sad thoughts that were trying to come up, and it was just like a really sad time. Like, you can't escape those sometimes, but at the very heart of it, my other part of myself, the part that wasn't so all consumed in like loneliness, was like, I'm here and I've got you, and your feelings are valid, and you know, it's okay to feel like this, and just take it one step at a time. And it's a far cry from the place I was before, where I'd be like, oh my god, I'm so lonely, and then that voice in my head would be like, yeah, because you suck, you know, like no one likes you, you're annoying, and it would just like list out like all these horrible things. Whereas now I don't fight myself, okay? I am no longer my own biggest enemy. And the way that I accomplish this is by doing little things. So first it was affirmations that I would say every morning. Those were hard, I am not going to lie. Sitting in front of a mirror and like looking at yourself and telling yourself all these things that seem so foreign is hard, but it's necessary. So even if it feels like you're lying to yourself, you're not, okay? When you look in the mirror and you tell yourself these things about yourself, you are just giving more light to that voice that was crushed by society and people that ain't worth shit, okay? So do it anyway. I've been there, I know how it is, but do it anyway. Another thing that has been immensely helpful for me, honestly, is therapy. It's a big one for me. I think it's like completely transformed the way that I view myself, and it's given me a space to be able to go and talk to someone about negative beliefs that I have about myself, and be able to learn the tools to, I'm not gonna say get rid of them, because I don't think it's like human nature to be like completely devoid of any sort of like negative feelings about oneself, but it's really helped me to like put a leash on that bitch, okay? Before I was fighting a goddamn dragon like Harry Potter, I was out here trying to rein in a dragon. Now we're dealing with the Chihuahua, okay? Like, sit down, relax. It's not that big of a deal. That's helped. And if you don't have access to therapy, like I know most people don't have access to therapy, just take some time to, TikTok is a great place to see therapists. They give out some good tips on that goddamn app. Or just learning more about human behavior and like what are things that you can do to work on yourself. I'm gonna put the link in the description of the place that I got my therapist. It helps with, it's like a sliding scale therapy. Is that what it is? Sliding scale therapy? Or like therapy that doesn't cost $1 zillion. Okay, so it's gonna be in the description. But I highly suggest that if you are sincerely looking to be better alone, that therapy is a great way to do that. But yeah, so you just have to become friends with yourself and be okay with just talking to yourself, chat. Like a big one is just doing just that. Talk to yourself, okay? Talk to yourself. Like, legitimately just talk to yourself. I've almost, I don't know if this is healthy or not, I should probably talk to my therapist about this, but I've almost compartmentalized the part of myself that I speak to. Let me explain that. So if I'm thinking, you know what, this situation is making me really sad, there's another part of my brain that'll kind of like, you know, peek up and be like, okay, let's talk about it. What's so upsetting? You know, like, what in this situation is making you so upset? Is it something that we can fix? Are there steps that we can go through to try and rectify the situation? If there are other people involved, what are our feelings towards them right now because of the situation? How can I go from being upset to fixing it? You know, blah, blah, blah. Once you can do that and like really talk to yourself, it helps so much with not needing to run to other people. That is a big thing for me, is that I have spent so much of my life wanting to be seen, wanting to be validated, wanting to be understood by other people who just didn't. And I realized for me that it was just so much of like seeking out outside voices to make me feel okay about being myself. And like when you say it like that, it sounds weird, right? Like it sounds weird that you're looking out so that you feel good about you. Like, don't do that anymore, okay? This talking to yourself, being one with yourself, like, just, it starts in here and here. Like, physically say these things, okay? Just like talk to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and just, you know, sit down, get comfy, and then be like, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am successful, I am worthy of love. Just like that, just to yourself. Don't listen to me say it to you, you say it to you. Yeah, talk to yourself. That's gonna be a big one. The third thing that I would suggest if you are looking to learn how to be better by yourself is, honestly, like, I feel like it's weird to say this, because I feel like this is something that people assume is like an innate thing, when truly it's not. The third thing is to just be aware of why you're alone, okay? And what the reasons are for your aloneness will help you figure out how to fill that void in the future. So what I mean by that is, at one point, I sat down at my therapist was mentioned that I should do this. This was in a dating context, but honestly, I've kind of like traversed it to any relationship that I have in my life, is to take a look at your values. Okay, so what are the things that you value the most in any relationship that you have? So you just like list them down, vulnerability, loyalty, compassion and kindness. If you want people who are really close to their families, if you value people who like to go on adventures, if you value people who just like work really hard at their craft, whatever that may be, just like list them all out. And so I did. I listed all these things out, and I was like, yeah, this is a great fucking list, yeah. And then I was like, I'm not doing too hot myself on the things that are on this list, and neither are the people that are around me, so I had to look at myself, because that's where I went first. I went in and I was like, oh God, like I'm not the most disciplined person. Like that was something on my list. I was like, I really want someone who's like self-disciplined. And I was like, oh my God, but I suck at self-discipline. Like I am terrible at this. And I was like, I can't expect other people to have things that I don't have. And so in my situation where I was forced to be alone, I was looking back and I was like, you know what, these people that were in my life were fantastic and they were great and they were this, that, and the third, but they just weren't meeting the criteria that I was looking for. And that doesn't negate them as like bad people, like it doesn't negate their worth, but it made me realize that I was trying to put the values that I wanted in people close to me on people who maybe they didn't want to meet those values. They didn't really care to meet them. So now, being alone, realizing my values and things that I want and I'm looking for in other people makes it easier for me to stay alone, because I know the things that I'm looking for. Okay, that was like the roundabout way to get there. But basically, when you have a list of things that you look for, attributes that you value in your friends and your romantic relationships and any sort of anything, you're not so quick to be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, friend. Like you're more able to be like, this person is great, they're fantastic, they're a lot of fun, but do I see this relationship continuing for us to be best friends? Maybe not, and that is okay. Okay, so make sure that you have a list of things that you're looking for in other people. And one, not only are you doing the things that are on that list, okay, don't forget that part. Do the things that are on that list, but then also make sure that you're cultivating relationships with people who have those attributes, okay? No one's ever gonna be 100%, but if someone's got like 3 things on your list of 10, don't put as much energy into that relationship as someone who's got 8, 7 of those things, okay? So that's where I'm at right now, where now I know my values, now I know the things that I am looking for in friends and partners in the future. So it's making it easier for me that when I'm in a situation where I meet someone new, or I am introduced to someone, whatever, and we hit it off, but we're not like, friendships progress, but they're not really taking these things off my list. I'm kind of like, you know what, like you would be someone who is a good friend and I am okay with that, but I don't see things going like progressing. I want to make sure that I'm like stressing the fact that you don't need to be super rigid. It sounds like I'm being super rigid, but just know what you're looking for. Okay, because you'd rather have a good quality of friends than a large quantity of friends. I'd rather have, 2 amazing friends that are working on themselves and pushing themselves and all this, that, and the third. They're funny, they're good to be around, they're always a good time, than like have a bunch of friends where I'm just kind of like, none of y'all care about the same things that I care about. We have nothing in common. But there's a lot of y'all, that's that's the difference. You want to make sure that you're choosing quality over quantity. Yeah, so that is my list. I think those are like the top 3 things that I would say is the best way to the best like 3 things to do when you're starting to be alone. There's so many more that I can talk about, and I would love to make another video if you guys would like to see another video. So just let me know in the comments, how are you doing being alone? You know, there's nothing bad about being alone. I have the hard days too. I, spent the last 2 days crying and being really sad, and then getting bombarded with TikToks of couples. So that was a good time. But I just want to let you know that it's totally normal to not want to be alone forever. Okay? We can learn to be alone. We can learn to be dependent on ourselves. We can learn to be our own best friend. You have to learn to be your best friend first, but that doesn't mean you're your only best friend. Okay? Okay? Just remember that. It is totally okay and totally normal for you to want to have a partner in life. I do too. Speaking of which, where are you at? God, I'm deranged today. Well, those are the 3 things that I would suggest if you are on your road to becoming your own bestie. And it makes me so happy to think about other people becoming their own besties, because I'm my own bestie and that's the way it should be. But I would love to make another one of these videos, and if you think that I should, put something in the comments. I was gonna say like a green goblin in the comments. I don't know why that was my first thought. Put a green heart in the comments. Go ahead, sure. But I wish you all the best of luck in your singleness. I am one of you, okay? And there is nothing wrong with that, okay? Just remember that. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week with another video. Have a great and fantastic rest of your day.